Well, speaking of positions that you may not have the opportunity for, you've got a pretty interesting one here, David.
Yeah, so I came across this article just this morning from Reuters that was talking about IKEA, big old Swedish furniture company, has shifted a lot of their customer service. They say that about half of their customer service queries have been handled by an AI over just the past couple of years. And so there's a couple interesting notes just on that front. For one thing, AI has just become a much more mainstream topic over just the last year, but I think this kind of contributes to the point that AI has just been a concept, has been a thing that has been used for a long time. Just about any time that you've actually gone through an automated customer support pipeline, then it could be considered AI to some extent. But it sounds like what they're employing here is a lot more close to what ChatGPT actually is. I haven't actually used it or heard any testimonials of how amazing or terrible it is. But what I think is even more interesting about it is that they are saying that despite the fact that they are shifting about half of their customer support queries to this AI, it's not leading to any job loss, which is a big concern with AI. And the reason that they're doing it is that they are shifting their call center staff, anyone who wants to become interior design consultants. They're introducing an entirely new service category that they're offering so that people can pay, I forget what the article says, about like $30 or something to essentially have one of these consultants give you advice on how to pick out the best furniture for your room from IKEA. So I thought that's a really interesting way to do this. And apparently they have shifted over about 8,500 workers doing this, which is a staggering amount, frankly.
Yeah, there's a lot of fascinating stuff about this, David. And I appreciate you finding this article. On one hand, this is like, oh, here it comes. AI is eliminating all these people. But I got to challenge, like anybody's listening to this, like, honestly, I would so much rather talk to an AI than have to go through the agony of coming up with a call list, like talking to a call list person. Like, I don't know that I've called IKEA ever, but if my credit card company had an AI that I could ask 99% of my questions to, it would definitely lower my blood pressure compared to having to deal with some person that, just puts me in frustrating loops and all those things. I was thinking, as you were talking about this article, I was sort of thinking about this as, there's an alternative to the doomsday scenario, right? So AI eliminates all these opportunities. It does. And, my first thought is somebody who is a customer service person now becomes an interior design consultant. I mean, like, how much crossover skill is there? You know what I mean? Like, you were kind of able to answer the phone, and now you're going to tell me that you can give me the right colors for my decorating situation.
Yeah,
that's
I was
a little
thinking
bit
about that because that's going to require a decent amount of training on IKEA's part, but that also then elevates that person's career opportunities going forward, because then if that's something that they're actually interested in for their long-term career, then they could have more opportunities in that space.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about another, like, moving it to something else. So I have a pretty ugly background right now, and fortunately that's a short range thing because I'm in the process of constructing a office and studio space. And so that involves hiring a lot of contractors and all those things, but it also involves doing some of my own work. And so consequently, I've been in Lowe's a lot recently. And now my Lowe's is all still real checkout people, but I had to go to Home Depot over the weekend because Lowe's didn't have something, and Home Depot has replaced about half their cash registers with the self-checkout thing. Now, for the most part, I would much rather go through a self-checkout at a grocery store. And I don't know about this with a grocery store, but at Lowe's, given a choice as a consumer, if you told me that you were going to take 2/3 of your cashiers and you were going to take them off of checking me out and you were going to replace them with people that could answer my questions to a high level about building stuff in the back, man, let me take that deal every day, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting there as somebody who can do some work, but only does it once. And I'm sitting there walking up and down the electrical aisle trying to figure out what, Romex cable I need and what gauge it's supposed to be and what conduit I need and where is it daggone cement to put the conduit together with. And I would have it would have been such a huge upgrade to me to customer experience if instead of a cashier, Lowe's had somebody who was genuinely intelligent about electricity, which is not necessarily the case every time I've been in Lowe's, who would come there and say, hey, tell me about your project. And I say, this is my project. And say, oh, you need some of that and some of that and some of that. Now, to me, that's a strategic shift that, maybe the same amount of people, but they do have to be upgraded. And that's an interesting societal thought, David. Like, will AI mean that what you do for minimum wage is like, in other words, the standard for what you do as a human, the bottom has to come up a good bit. Like you have to, it's not going to be enough that you're going to stand and scan something across a like thing and take somebody's money. To work at Lowe's at the kind of base level stuff, you're going to have some real knowledge of the things that you're selling. Yeah, that could be scary for some people, but I think it could be ultimately good for society in general and for consumers to some extent. So
right. Yeah. And just purely from an economical standpoint, I understand a lot of the pushback that comes from, technology like the, self-checkouts are taking people's jobs is that, it is taking out some of those very low skill, low pay jobs. However, at the same time, because those new self-checkout machines are having to be built, maintained, and continued to improve, all of those jobs that are now created because these things are so prevalent, all of those jobs are now out there. Those jobs are also a lot higher paying jobs and ultimately are going to give people a lot more opportunity for career growth than the jobs where you're just scanning things in a checkout line. So ultimately, I agree. I think that it could be a beneficial thing.
Yeah, that's an excellent point.
Well, hey, thank you for watching this clip of the Alternative Ideas podcast. If you want to listen into the full episode of this podcast, then you can check it out on our YouTube channel here. And make sure that you're subscribed if you find it interesting, because every single week we release a new episode and we're going to be putting out new clips. So you can make sure to get those in your subscriptions box every week.